Yeah, welcome back. Well, up until November 2016, fecal waste was disposed into the sea without treatment, leading to pollution. This changed with the commissioning of the Lavender Hill fecal treatment plant, which ensures that such waste is treated before disposal into the water. The facility has today been opened to media men for inspection by owners of the facility. Joining us is Joseph Akable, toured the facility. He now joins me now in the studio. He help us know what exactly was done at the facility and how key it is to waste management in this country. You're welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Good to see you. Tell us what you saw on this tour that you took.
So it's a large facility that is being operated at that particular place. Now, prior to it being set up, the challenge that we've had in the capital, in fact, we've had clashes between the EP, Environmental Protection Agency, and the AMA over how right here in the capital, when waste is collected from homes, they are just disposed directly into the sea without it being treated, and that affects aquatic life. Now, this is the solution that was presented for a plan to be set up such that even before that disposal is done, you have to treat it to reduce the toxic content in it before it is dumped into the sea. So that is what this facility does. And now what the solution is, so it has solved the problem where in the past we just pick the various sewage from various KVIPs or public place of convenience, that be it at homes, straight into the sea. So that is the problem that.
So now it's been treated before it's disposed into the sea. So it's been disposed into the sea anyway.
Yes, but what it means is that it's not as harmful. In fact, they tell us that the standard is supposed to be 100% free, but as it stands, they are at an 80% level. And they are saying it's because the plant has been running for just about 2.5 months. It was commissioned in November. So in subsequent months, they'll hit the 100% mark by the EPA. So Engineer Cobalt is the general manager for the plant, and she explains the process.
Okay, well, we can hear him now.
But what we are doing here is we receive that fecal matter, and it's going to go through a form of treatment processes. Currently, we are still in the commissioning stage or test trying stage. So we are just doing one section of the plant, that is the dewatering section. So we receive the trucks, they dislodge into the offloading bay or offloading trough, and then it goes through by gravity through screens. And for your information, our fecal matter, there are a lot of things in our fecal matter. You can get a pair of jeans, condoms, pads.
So it means all those items, people, when they are flushing the toilet in their homes, they put them in it and flush it.
And a lot come from the public toilets. You know, the trucks, a lot of them come from the public toilets. So I think most of those things are from the public toilets. So they come in, we have to remove all those things because they will clog the pumps. So we have screens to remove all those foreign matter we don't need, and then from those screens it goes the core. We call that the core screen. From the core screen it goes through the integrated machines where we remove the very small materials, grates. We call that grates. That is materials less than 6 millimeters. So when you see it, it's like sand. So we remove all that before the system will flow into a regulating tank. And then from the regulating tank, it is pumped back to the dewatering machines. We have screw presses where we add a polymer or a coagulant just to get the solids together and the liquids separated. So that will mix, the coagulant will mix with the raw sewage, and then there's coagulation. The solids or the raw sludge, that's what we call it. It's removed, and currently it is sent to drying beds for drying, and then the effluent goes back into the regulating tank. And for now, the whole process is a biological process. So we need a biological process. You can't just put the thing in and then it's treating. We have to grow the microorganisms that would feed on the raw sewage that will come, and that process is yet to go on. We are now trying to get grow the microorganisms, so we are not at that stage yet. So currently we are just doing dewatering, and the dewatering that we are doing, if you test, we have a lab, you saw it, and we test the COD, that's the chemical oxygen demand of the raw sewage. That is a measure of what do you call it? It's not bacteria. That's a measure of how contaminated the sewage is. So we test the COD of the raw sewage or fecal matter as it comes, and that is the highest we have gotten so far. Is about 22,000 milligrams per liter. And after dewatering, we have tested also, and we have between 4,500 and 5,000. So we are removing about 80% COD. which I think for now. So after we do that, the dewatering we pump into the sea for now.
Well, that's the engineer there explaining the process there. But we do know also that biogas is an option. So let me find out from you, Akable, what else happens there at this plant?
They have facility to generate biogas from the waste that is brought there. But as is now, that is not functional. The point again is the fact that they are still not operating at that optimal level that they hope to operate. Okay. But the engineer again makes that point.
What do they need to operate at that optimal, whatever that
it has to do with running the facilities for a long time. Okay. So as it stands, they were using some of the plants, they were still, as the day goes on, they move on to use more of the plants. Okay. So as time goes on, they are sure that the facilities are working as they expect them to work, then eventually they will shift to the biogas generation.
Okay, we can hear her briefly on that as well.
Yes, it will take place. Like I told you, from the dewatering stage, the effluent will now come into the USB, where we are standing on USB, upflow anaerobic sludge blanket. That is where the treatment itself, that is what we are charging now. I told you it's a biological process. So that is where the gas will be generated on top of this tanks you see here. So the gas that will be generated, if you turn to this side, you see these cylindrical machines. The gas will be tapped and it will be cleaned, purified. You know, the gas is not just methane. We have methane, hydrogen sulfide, and then carbon dioxide. And it's just the methane we need for the gas we need to be able to generate electricity. So it is cleaned here, and then there are two generators here that will use the gas to generate electricity. But because the process is not, we haven't started the process here, we haven't started the gas generation yet.
Just the last bit, just to enable our viewers understand how much waste in terms of what we generate into the water you are saving the nation. Roughly how many trucks do you receive per day?
The highest we have received so far is about 232.
In a single day?
In a single day. The capacity of the plant is about 2,000 meter cubed per day. And if you translate that to trucks, it's about over 200. Because each truck is roughly 10, most of the trucks 10 cubic. But there are some that are 5, 7. So about the 2,000 will translate to about 250 trucks in a day. That's the capacity of the plant.
Okay, so that is Joseph Akable talking to the engineer there. What more can we know about this before you go?
It has to do with Dredge Masters, and that is also owned by the Zoom Lion Group, just like this one. Okay. And again, they are in charge of the main drain that connects the sea from the various drains in Accra to the sea. And they are also saying that they are ready for Accra's major drain is ready for the rains, contrary to fears that we may have a possible flooding.
But we saw the flooding yesterday.
Yeah, they are saying that is because of the auxiliary drains that connect to the main drain. They are only responsible for the major drain. So their part is ready, but we have to work on the others. So we can hear Sena Adiepena, is operations manager for Dredge Masters.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Joseph Akable. But let's hear from Sena Adiepena.
We shouldn't have silt building up to a point where it is so much that it reduces the volume or water carrying capacity of the drains. But as we have it by nature, this siltation is an ongoing process. You have silt building up from time to time. So we have been tasked to ensure that the areas that were identified to have resulted in the blockage of water, which led to the overflow of the banks during June 3rd, 2015, shouldn't happen again. So as an emergency measure, these areas were quickly desilted and dredged. And up till last year, 2016 August, we completed that for the Odor section, so that you realize that the concrete bottom is very visible. It's clean to the point where there's no siltation. So now, as of now, our focus is on the Korle Lagoon, the upper and the lower Korle Lagoon, which is the receiving point from upstream before it goes into the sea. We need to also increase the depth and width to the original design and state of the lagoon, so that no matter how much volume of water comes in, we should be able to, the lagoon should be able to contain it and then send it out into the sea. It's not as a result of the main channel. It's not as the flooding, as you call it, it's not as a result of the main channel, but the smaller drains that you have going into the bigger Odor drain. If you realize that after the rains have settled down, you realize that a lot of plastic waste having brought out, and those were the ones that were choking the smaller drains. As a result, you have the area inundated with water.
All right, now we're just about packing our bags out for Baba Tando, who's standing by to, get the spots on the pulse ready. But let's deal with this very important issue before we do that, shall we? A group of researchers from the TUC, the University of Ghana, and then the African Studies Center at the University of Leiden in Netherlands have been conducting some research on how to strengthen the political leverage of informal workers. I've got two of people who know more about this research with me in the studio. They will help us, understand what this is about. I've got Richard Champon, who is a researcher with the TUC in the studio. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Also here with me is Deborah Freeman. Deborah Freeman is General Secretary, the Union of Informal Workers of TUC Ghana. So what led to, what are the main issues that the research has uncovered about the problems or the issues confronting informal workers in Ghana?
Thank you very much. Right. The main issue is that informal workers in Ghana are the majority. I mean, they constitute over 86% of the Ghanaian workforce, and yet they are relegated to,
the background.
The background.
Okay.
They struggle to get hearing,
okay,
or attention or audience. So we conducted a research to find out how best informal workers can actually influence policies, policies that really affect their work.
Okay.
Yes.
So what did you come up with? How do they influence policy decisions? How does it happen?
Yes. So what we find out is that yes, it is difficult for them to have that, and so we have made some recommendations. Means
okay,
that first of all they need to be organized, as in form associations and unions, so that they can be identified first, okay, to start with. Yes, and then also for their capacity to be built, to have the confidence to be able to approach policy makers,
okay,
and be able to have a stronger voice. Of course, that will be enabled by the associations and unions which they form.
Okay.
To have a unified voice.
Okay, so that's what you're pushing for now.
Pushing for, yes.
Okay, let's talk about what you're going to use this research finding for. Let me come to you for that question. What are you going to use the findings for, and how will it enhance their chances of influencing policy decisions?
Yeah, basically for education, and then also organizing, putting them in association so that they will have, as my sister tells us, the recognition, the voice, to be able to reach out to policy makers and then make the right ones for them to be heard. Okay. Because realize that they are very, very important in our economy. In fact, they, as she said, constitute the majority of the working population.
Okay.
And so if they constitute the majority and then they are relegated to the background, then I don't think it's very right. They should be given the platform and the chance to also come out with their problems and then also contribute even more to the national economy.
Okay.
Yeah.
The contributing to the national economy, there have been this concern that informal workers are so many, but they don't pay taxes. As the TUC, you're looking at bringing them in. What are some of the initiatives you're looking at so that governments will be able to reach them so they can pay taxes, so that those of us in the formal sector do not continue to pay the taxes all by ourselves?
Yeah, I don't think that is very true. I don't pay taxes because every now and then they approach whatever they sell at the marketplaces, they pay taxes, both direct and indirect taxes, even though not all of them are reached because of where you find themselves. But it is good that government is coming up with this national identification program.
Okay.
Now, once that thing is done, I'm sure government can reach a lot of them. They can be identified wherever they are, and then this revenue mobilization can also be undertaken.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say they don't pay taxes. They pay taxes. But
most of them don't, they say.
Yeah, most of them don't pay. But
okay,
then I think it's a duty of the government to also come out with a program where they can be reachable and then be roped into the tax net.
Okay.
And so it is good, this government's program of national identification where they can identify it and
okay,
then taxes collected from them.
From them. Okay, so tomorrow you're presenting this report tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, briefly tell us what it is so we can wrap up. We've run out of time.
Okay, yes, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. at the TUC headquarters conference room, we are launching the report.
Okay.
A lot of dignitaries will be coming, various ministries, local government ministry, Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, AMA, and the rest. Other corporate organizations will also come as well as informal workers associations.
Okay.
And so we hope that the general public will join us tomorrow to enjoy
well, once you've got the ministries, we believe that you've reached the right people. They will help you with education so that we can rope these people into the tax net.
Exactly.
So like I say, those who those who are paying taxes now do not continue to pay, while some people, do not pay but still enjoy as part of the nation. Okay, I'm here in the studio with Rachel the Champon, researcher at the TUC, and Deborah Freeman, General Secretary with the Union of Informal Workers of the TUC. Tomorrow they present a report from that research that they conducted. This is still The Pulse.